How to make the puppet, aka the Marionette, for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I'm using a faceless foam head. You guys could use a balloon. Now I'm wrapping it with saran wrap so that way I can take the clay off easily. I'm applying a couple layers, making sure there's no foam showing. For the face, I'm using air dry clay. Other alternatives could be paper mache, plaster Paris, or even foam clay. Make sure the layers aren't too thick, but also not too thin. That way it dries quicker, it's much lighter, but you also don't want it to crack down the middle. I'm dipping my finger in water and spreading it across the face, that way it's much more smooth. Now I'm rolling up 2 balls of clay, and this will be for the cheeks. Put them on each side of the face, and I'm kind of squishing it down, and I'm using water to connect the clay together. It also helps smooth it down so there's no creases. This is what it looks like so far. Now I'm using an X-Acto blade to cut out where the mouth hole is. The good thing is the clay isn't dry yet, so if you mess up, you can always add more clay to it. Now cut out the eye holes. This takes patience as I messed up on the eyes quite a bit and had to touch them up, but I fixed it. Air dry clay takes about 2 to 3 days to dry, which absolutely sucks. But now that it's dry, I am sanding it down to make it smooth. Now I am freehand drawing the tears, as well as the lips, and using purple acrylic paint for the tears. And red acrylic paint for the lips. Now I am drawing the circles on the cheeks and painting them red as well. Now I will be hot gluing some black fabric on the inside of the mask. Do this for both the eyes and the mouth. Now I'm cutting out an oval shape that is the same size as the mask. I'm cutting 2 separate layers. Put the 2 sides that you want shown facing each other, and hot glue the edges together except for a couple inches on the top. That is because you'll need some room to flip it inside out, like you'll see here. Now put stuffing inside of it. Now I am cutting out the neck piece. Make 2 identical ones. Put what you want on the outside facing each other and hot glue the edges, but don't hot glue the top and bottom. Put hot glue around the edges of the head, and put the fabric oval you made inside the head. I taped a bunch of paper together, but if you have any construction paper or long paper, you can use that. Now I'm using a reference photo to create a stencil. Once I'm happy with the design, I'm going to cut out the body and just one of the legs and one of the arms. I'm using a white Sharpie to trace the stencil onto the fabric. The material I'm using is this velvety fabric I found at a thrift store. Now I'm cutting it out, but making it double the length. This is so I can fold it over and cut two at the same time, because I'll need one for the front and the back. Do that same process with the legs, except you're going to want to do two legs, of course. As well as the arms. Here's everything you'll need for the body. My hand sewer and sewing machine would not work for this for some reason, so I decided to hand sew it, which took a long time. It was not fun. After you finish sewing it, you're going to want to leave a gap on the top. This is so you can flip it inside out and eventually put cotton inside of it. After like an hour of sewing it, the stitches fell out, so as you see I had to hot glue it together, which created this ugly mess, and I decided to do that with all of them because for some reason stitches will not work on it, and it made me so mad. I didn't record myself hot gluing them all together because you guys can kind of get the gist of it from seeing what I did with the other ones, but you'd flip them out, put cotton in there, which takes quite some time. I eventually went over all the hot glue splotches that were white with a black marker so it would cover that up. I found a pack of 3 white buttons for only $2. So now I'm hot gluing them onto the chest. I found some white ribbon for $1, and it's the perfect size to be those stripes that are on his legs and arms. I don't know if it's a he or a she, but the puppet has 9 white stripes, but I didn't space them out correctly, so I just put 7. Should be no biggie, hopefully. I would recommend using a ribbon that's a little thicker than this because the black showed underneath, so it made it look more gray than white. Now I'm adding the stripes on the arms. The puppet has 5 white stripes. I'm making a small incision with an X-Acto blade on its back. You're probably wondering why, but it's because I'm going to be sticking a broomstick in there, and you're also probably wondering why I'm sticking a broomstick in there. Well, that's because I need something that is strong enough to support the head, because as you see I'm going to be hot gluing the head on there, and because it's heavy it's just going to flop down. Also, the broomstick has screws on the bottom, so I plan on putting it inside of a box like in the game and screw it on there so it stands up. This is how it turned out. I think it turned out pretty good. There's a couple things I would change, like the hands and the ribbon stripes. Other than that, it was a really fun project. I think it turned out well. Here's some sick pictures I took of it. Thank you all for watching. Peace.